All right, we are live. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar. Uh, and as always, let's get into it. Now, we talk a lot about leadership in retail, specifically leadership in wireless retail. Uh, and one of the main reasons is that's obviously one of my strong backgrounds. I was a leader for many years, grew up in that environment from an associate, store management, district level, director level. And even at various levels, I still did more than what my position in was titled, right? To give you an idea, as an associate, as a retail associate, I was training a lot of the store managers in the district. They would be sent into my location to be trained on operations. And you're wondering, why would they send somebody into a store that you're located in so that you can help them with their operations? Or why would they put you at a new location with a new manager to ensure their operations are solid? It wasn't that I was an associate, it was that I was actually um, asked multiple times to take a leadership role, but I declined because I was still finishing up my degree. Right. So I had taken some time off, decided to, you know what? I just need to go back, finish it. I got a couple more years and I'll get my degree. Let me just get that done with. Um, so I did. And it was during that time that I was being asked, it was almost for like a year and a half where I kept being asked, like, it seemed like almost every single month or every other month, like, hey, Omar, we have a store position available. We have a store manager position available. And the reason I didn't take it was at that time, it required 6 days availability. So working 48 hours, 6 days a week. And I couldn't do that because my courses, I was towards the stretch end for you that do have your degree. You already know what it's like. Uh, there's very limited classes. And this is when the school I went to was on a quarter system. So if you're not familiar with that, instead of taking 2 semesters to finish school, right, or to finish that year, where you have the fall and the spring semester, and you have 16 weeks essentially. A quarter system is 10 weeks long, um, and it's winter, spring, and fall, right? So fall, winter, spring. And it's 10 weeks long. So everything that you would learn in 16 weeks is condensed into 10 weeks. You still have midterms, you still have finals, um, but boom, it's all condensed, right? So it's kind of like a love it, hate it situation. But I ended up finishing up. And afterwards, that's when I took a leadership role. That's when I actually became a store manager. And as a store manager, I was doing a lot of interviewing. I was doing a lot of recruiting for the district role, right? Or not for my district per se, right? But for my DM and for my regional. I would be interviewing store managers for other locations outside of my district or within, my district. I was helping them also vet and interview, screen employees or candidates that they were looking to hire. Uh, so I was doing that way before I became a DM, way before I took any executive leadership roles or any of that nature. Uh, so that's what I'm saying. And today's conversation is a little bit different, right? Because normally we talk about like specific situations. And today I want to talk about boutique retail. What is boutique retail? Boutique retail is pretty much anything that doesn't fall into big box retail. So think it like you have a comic book retail location, you have a wireless retail location. They're boutique because they operate a little bit different than what traditional retail location will do. You also have boutique retail in the sense of high end. So think of appliances, think of AV situations. I mean, you can throw in stuff like jewelry as well, because it's a little bit different than what your traditional retail locations are like. A lot of that, they offer retail products, but really they're also offering services, right? When you're buying appliances, you're typically also buying the installation of the appliances, not just the product, right? It's very rare that you're just buying the product and have somebody else install it for you. Uh, and that's where things are a little bit different because it's a different kind of client that walks in. They're not just perusing, they're not just walking in to just take a look. Typically, when a client or a customer walks into a boutique location, they're going in with the intention of picking something, right? They're intentionally walking into this type of retail location, and their intention really is to buy something. They just don't either know it right away or they don't know what they're actually looking for. Or they might have questions that's keeping them, preventing them from moving forward with a product or a service. And that's the biggest thing, right? If you guys are wondering why I'm kind of going back and forth, once again, multiple camera situation going on, right? Uh, but that's like the biggest thing. And understanding what you're offering is going to be a big thing. Um, you can't just throw a brand new employee onto the floor and expect them to learn everything within a 2 week period. You're talking about very specific type of knowledge that they're going to need in order to really overcome a lot of objections, not just from the customer themselves, but also things that might be preventing them from moving forward, right? The actual seller, the actual employee, from moving forward with the sell because they don't know what the cues are. They don't know. They get hung up and that scares them. And this is why I'm very adamant about development and training. You train people, give them the basic knowledge, and let them understand, hey, there's going to be a lot that pops up that you're not going to be familiar with, and that's perfectly fine. You have us as your fallback. Ask questions, let us know, get us involved, right? Uh, and however you guys may want to do it. I always tell my people, I was like, oh, I'll help you out. After so many times of doing the same one, that cell is no longer going to be yours. I will take over the cell, right? I know in other cultures, it's the moment you bring me in, I take over the cell, but that's going to be, how you're going to learn. And that you think gets other people motivated to want to, ask for help or to want to help other people. It doesn't work that way. It's a demotivator, and that's how you end up bringing a lot of new employees. And you might be thinking, well, these people weren't cut out for this kind of role. It's not that they're not cut out for it. You have no fucking idea how to train and develop people. So you're burning through quality candidates to find somebody who might eventually be able to stick around. And even then, when you do find that person, it's taken you so much time and effort to get there. You may not have the capital to continue forward, right? You might be in a worse spot than you were prior because of the lost opportunity between those individuals. And that's where a lot of people don't take into account. You can't have that mindset and think that things are going to be great. You can't run a good organization with that kind of mindset of we're just going to burn through, churn, and go that route. I mean, if you want to be a welfare company like Walmart, because Walmart makes the majority of their sales from welfare, right? They are the largest recipients, which is one of the reasons if you haven't started boycotting fucking Walmart and boycott them, I fucking hate them. Used to be great when they stood for something, but now it's they destroy mom and pop chains, right? And they don't train, they don't offer good anything really. Uh, it's funny because I used to have a manager that worked at a Walmart, and he's like, "Yeah, their culture is terrible. Like, if you want to work at a place that's going to degrade you, and they're always looking for people. So if you need a quick buck, I mean, it's not that quick, but if you need a job, hey, they got you." But they burn through people. It's not what you want. You don't want your employees to feel like, hey, it's whatever. Because then also they have no incentive to want to take care of the organization to make sure that, loss is down, uh, that you're not worrying about theft and fraud, things of that nature, right? It keeps you as an owner, as an operator, more sane, right? And that's the biggest thing. Uh, you want to make sure that your team understands that you're there to help grow them, to help develop them. And that's where they're going to want to stick around. That's where they're going to want to spend more time with the organization and grow. If you ever wonder why some people stay with a company that, they got no future in that organization, they got no future with that company because it's only a single, location, or they have no intention of growing the organization or growing the company. They're there because, hey, they feel valued. They actually want to stay. They feel like they're inputting something. And then if it does cover, especially if it covers their necessities, I mean, come on. Why do a lot of people want more? And if you think about other cultures, right? Me and my wife were just talking about this the other day. There's a lot of cultures, I have a lot of family outside of the US where they have all their needs met. They don't have to work. Their house paid off, right? They have money to purchase food, to buy, whatever they want, to go on trips. They don't have to work every single month. They don't have to work very hard. They still operate some kind of business, but the business is seasonal. It's not year round. And, the days they work, they don't work the whole day. And they're fucking happy. They spend time with friends, talking, drinking, you know, catching up, and they get to travel. That's where a lot of people misunderstand in America, the want to work for money. If you're a leader and you think that the only thing that motivates your people to work and to perform is the amount of money they make, you don't understand your people. The money is not the end result. The money is a vehicle to get people to their end result, to where they want to be able to get to, right? Whether it's I want to go on trips because I'm part of a Jeep club and I take my Jeep out and we go off-roading and I want to be able to afford, you know, doing things to my Jeep to be able to get there. That's because I love makeup. I want to be able to buy a bunch of different makeup. Affords me, the ability to play around and be a makeup artist. It's because I love photography, and this allows me to, be able to purchase the cameras I want. And then on my days off or when I'm off, I do photography. Whatever the case is, there is more to your people than what you understand. And oftentimes you'd be surprised how a lot of that can come back into the organization and make the organization better, right? Because if you think of somebody who's doing like photography, they might be doing videography. So you might want to be doing something different with a company where you're doing learnings, right? You want somebody to help produce like better quality videos for some training, for onboarding, maybe for like investor relations or any of that nature, right? Hey, boom, we got something for commercials, for especially now social media. There's so much more that you could do that your people can be involved with. And you won't know that until you know them as individuals, until you know who they are as a person. Because that's when you understand what motivates them, what doesn't. And if you're going back to if the crutch of what you think motivates your people is how much money they make, you're missing the whole point. There's a video that I've made, right? One of the podcasts, and I've talked about this on social media, where you need to understand how your people get paid, and your people need to understand how they get paid. Their commission structure is one thing to know it, it's another thing to understand it. And when your people understand it, it makes a difference because they know what they get paid, but that doesn't make any sense. It's not visualized for them, it's not translatable to them, right? But when they understand it, they know that for me to make X amount of money this month or for the year, this is what I have to hit. This is my goal. This is my framework that I'm going after. If you think that the goal is them making that much money, you're missing the point. For them, the goal is that much money because of what it means for them to make that much money. It means, they pay rent, mortgage, whatever. It means that they have money left over to go on trips, to, go eat out where they want, to go to sporting events, to, buy their kicks, buy their fits, whatever that case is. That is what that dollar value means. So if you only end the conversation when you're doing that practice with the amount of money you want to make for the year, what does that look like? And you only end the conversation there, you've missed the most important driver of motivation that they have, which is why do they want to make that much money? When you understand why they want to make that much money, it opens up the conversation because then that is the actual motivating factor. That is where you can come back. And when you're having those conversations, when like you're doing coachings, not write-ups, when you're doing actual coachings, you can talk about that. You can ask them a little bit more about their hobbies, their likes, um, and the conversation moves forward in a way that makes sense for for the seller, for the employee. And oftentimes, as small business owners or bit um, owner operators, you get stuck in everything else, and you forget the simple things of what people want or what people will need to help motivate them forward. And like I said, it's not all about money. Money is a vehicle that we as people use to get what we're actually wanting. And we got to understand that part of the conversation. That's the most important aspect of what we're asking our people to do. Um, so if you haven't taken a look at it, right, go to the website. There's a link in the bio. Download the form. That one's a 15-minute coaching session or coaching form. Super easy to run through. It'll take you some time to actually master it. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy to master right away. It's simple to use. It takes time and effort, training and development to be able to truly master it. And that's where things really get fun. As, an actual person that develops people, that's when you start to see a difference in how your teams perform and how they're actually retaining the information, how they're actually jumping to help and grow, not just as an individuals, but also the organization. Because when your people grow, the organization will grow too. Uh, and never be afraid that your people will leave. I think that's one of the hardest things for a lot of individuals that a lot of like leaders worry about, a lot of managers. When you have that manager mindset, that's what you worry about the most. Your people either leaving or replacing you. And that's one of the things you should not worry about. If your team is replacing you, that means you're growing. You are attaining different titles. If they're growing, they leave your organization for another one to get a better opportunity because you obviously know you don't have the opportunities available. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have a great relationship, if they loved how you helped them develop themselves, how you helped shape their career essentially, right? Their mindset, how you helped develop them as individuals, and you took your time doing that, when there's an opportunity available, they will come back and they're going to want to help the organization grow. So don't be afraid of that. And you should have a way to keep contact, to keep in contact with these people. Whether it's a simple like email system where it just sends a follow-up like, hey, just want to, give you guys updates how the company's going. Just want to touch base, see how everything's going. You can actually set that up where it will do that for you and it can truly continue that conversation, right? And that's the cool thing. You don't have to continuously, you can send text message, you can uh, reach out to them in that respect, and just like, hey, touch base, see how everything's going. I had one of my leaders when I left one of my organizations, they kept pestering me for fucking 3 months until I came back. Um, and it was truly because I missed, uh, the organization. I missed my location. I missed my team. I missed my customers. When I came back, my customers were fucking happy I was back, right? And that's how big of a difference you can make in the community. And that's why it's important to be active in the community. And I think as, small retail organizations, small retail companies, sometimes it's harder to think about that because you think I got a location, that's it. You got a location, yes. People aren't going to just be popping into your location just because you got a location. What are you doing to be part of the community? When you get your teams involved and they feel that you're helping develop and train them and grow them as individuals, they're also going to want to have people come in, check it out, and be part of that community with them. There's awesome things there. There's so much potential. Uh, Being a boutique retailer doesn't mean that you're stuck and you have nobody to support you. Being a boutique retailer means that it might be a little bit harder because you don't have the multi millions and billions of dollars to be able to afford everything that some of the larger organizations do. I will tell you this, a lot of those organizations may have the money, but they're definitely not reinvesting it in their people. And that's where you're going to see a difference in the type of individuals you have in your organization. And also, the type of customer interactions customers have. And when you build your reputation up as being somebody, being a location, organization that has well-developed and trained people, and your people also showcase that they're developed, they're training, they're learning new things, they're growing. That means they're also taking care of their customers. They're taking care of their clients. And those clients and customers that want to come back, they're going to want to refer other people, bring them with them because, hey, I know somebody. And that's, I think, the biggest flex that we could have as people is when you know somebody, you got a connection, right? I got a buddy of mine, amazing guy. He's a fucking great mechanic. He's my mechanic, right? I hit him up. I'm like, hey, I need a little bit of work done. Boom. All right. Just, I got this time available. Bring it in. Sweet. I got you. And I've referred other people to him too. He stays busy. He works on some amazing cars, right? So if you're talking about sports vehicles, like high-end, one-of-a-kind type of vehicles, that's the kind of stuff he does. But he still works on other stuff. He works on fleet vehicles. He'll work on regular cars, right? He's a mechanic and he's got amazing talent. Uh, and like those exotic cars, he told me, he's like, it's not like it's going to be done in a day. They come into the shop. A lot of those pieces take time to come in. So when they come into the shop, I already tell them like, hey, the pieces we need, it's gonna take a few months to get in. So you can take the car or you can leave the car. Um, it's up to you, right? Most of the people, they tow their cars to them because they don't live in the same city, right? They live hours away. That's how great he is at it, what he does. But that's what I'm saying. Like when you got a person, I know a guy, I got a connection, right? For appliances, for AV, for stuff like phones, like, hey, meet, don't go into a random store, go to this person, they'll take care of you. When you can tell somebody that I got somebody and they'll take care of you, I mean, one, if I'm getting that referral, it's like, all right, I trust you and you got a person, they're gonna take care of me because you enjoy it. And they go above and beyond for that as well. Having those connections matter. And it goes back down to understanding your people, having, a great development in place. You don't have to have a development department, a training and coaching department. If you've instilled this from the get-go or early on within the organization, because then it becomes second nature for you, for the leaders that you have in place, for the employees you have in place to go through this, to want to do this. So when somebody new comes on board, it's easy for everybody. And then when you do have the opportunity to open up that other location, you've already got a leader in place that can help develop others. Because remember, first true leader is the first follower. Because the leader themselves is a lone crazy nuts until they get that first follower. And then that first follower is going to want to help other people and show them like the best options, show them the ropes, how to kind of get everything in line. And then they themselves are a leader. That first follower that you have is, your first employee, your first hire, whatever it is, right? They are the most underrated leader on your team. Pay attention to them because you wouldn't have done everything without that first follower on your team. It would have been a lot harder because there would have been a lot more pushback. People wouldn't have trusted everything that you're doing. And that's why when you go into a new location, if you're getting hired on to a boutique retailer, right, smaller mom and pop company or private company, you don't want to come in guns a-blazing and start removing a bunch of people. You need to understand what you're walking into and have a better understanding of the culture. You have an idea of what you want to do. Don't get me wrong on that. right? Because you should have already had those conversations with the owners, um, or the executive leadership as to what kind of change they're looking for and what you bring to the table. Okay. And then with what you have in mind, and as you get to know the people and understand the team dynamics, it doesn't take a very long time. And you implement your keystone habits to make that change, that's when you can start seeing magic happen. That's when you can start seeing magic being developed. Um, and it wouldn't have happened without that first follower, right? That's the cool thing. That's where we want to focus on. And we can't really do that without developing, without training others. And that's a very big thing. Like I said, just because you're smaller, just because you think that you don't have, tens of millions of dollars coming in free to have a training and development department, uh, doesn't mean this can't be implemented. Doesn't mean this can't apply to you. You can do this, you can grow it, and you'd be surprised how much happier your team will be, how much longer they will stick around, how much more they will produce, right? And how much more active they are with the company as a whole. You hear that a lot where people just aren't active with the company. They don't, man, this generation doesn't work. But it's not that this generation doesn't work. It's that the previous generations helping the new generations or leading the new generations aren't doing what needs to be done to train and develop them. It is not the new generations. It is the older generations that are keeping the new generations from actually flourishing because we're not offering the training, we're not offering the development. We're keeping them behind essentially because oftentimes a lot of people are afraid that they're going to be, replaced, that they're going to get fired because somebody else can do their job. Fuck it. Let somebody do my job. Let me train somebody to do what I do so that I can help funnel and create a system of training so that I can have more than just one person that does what I do, so that I can focus on other things. I can delegate some of the more mundane tasks to them so that they can actually learn the ropes and have the opportunity to grow as opposed to me keeping them from it and be like, when an opportunity arises, that's when you're going to learn the role. No, help train them up, help develop them. That's what we're looking for. That's what true leadership is. And on that note, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button so that you guys continue to see these. If you have any questions, reach out to me directly, leave a comment, send a DM. I'm around. All right. I'll catch you on the next one, guys.